They said something, you felt it land, the insult, the accusation, the passive-aggressive comment disguised as concern, your chest tightened, your jaw clenched. Your brain immediately began composing the perfect response, the devastating comeback, the paragraph that would dismantle their argument and expose their hypocrisy for everyone to see. Your fingers hovered over the keyboard. Your mouth opened, and then you made the mistake that has destroyed more power, more respect, and more psychological sovereignty than any external enemy ever could. You reacted. You explained yourself. You engaged with the bait. And the moment you did, you handed them the only thing they came for: your attention, your energy, your peace. Niccolò Machiavelli spent his life studying the mechanics of power, not in theory, but in the blood-soaked courts of Renaissance Italy, where a single misstep meant exile or execution. He watched men with armies fall to men with silence. He watched kings lose their thrones because they could not resist the urge to defend themselves against accusations that were designed not to be true, but to provoke a response. And he codified a principle so ruthless, so psychologically devastating, that most people will reject it the moment they hear it. The principle is this: the person who reacts has already lost. The person who explains is the person on trial. And the person who ignores, the one who lets the accusation hang in the air like smoke and simply walks through it without flinching, that person becomes untouchable. But you were never taught this. You were taught the opposite. You were taught that silence is guilt, that not defending yourself means the accusation is true, that good people explain, clarify, correct the record. You were taught to be a good defendant in a courtroom that was rigged against you from the beginning. Today, we are going to burn that courtroom to the ground. You are going to learn the 7 Machiavellian laws of psychological non-reaction. These are not communication strategies. These are not tips for conflict resolution. These are weapons. And like all weapons, they are dangerous. They will change how people treat you. They will make manipulators afraid of you. They will make narcissists avoid you. They will make weak people call you cold, call you arrogant, call you cruel, because you will have become the one thing they cannot control. A mind that does not flinch. But be warned. Once you stop reacting, once you stop explaining, once you start moving through the world with the kind of silence that forces other people to sit in the consequences of their own noise, there is no going back. You will lose people. You will be misunderstood, and you will be free in a way that most human beings will never experience, because most human beings are slaves to their need to be seen, to be heard, to be validated. If you are ready to kill that need, if you are ready to become sovereign, then stay. If not, leave now, because what comes next cannot be unlearned. Law 1. Never defend against an accusation. The accused man is already in chains. Picture this. Someone accuses you of being selfish, of being cold, of not caring enough. Your immediate instinct is to list every time you helped them, every sacrifice you made. Every moment you put their needs above your own. You build your case. You present the evidence. You expect them to say, "Oh, you are right. I was wrong. I see now." It never happens, because the accusation was never about the truth. It was about positioning. The moment you defend yourself, you accept the frame. You accept that they are the judge, and you are the defendant. You accept that their assessment of you holds weight, that their opinion is the standard against which you must measure yourself. Machiavelli observed this in the courts of Florence. When a man was accused of treason, even if the accusation was a fabrication, the moment he began to plead his innocence, the court treated him as guilty until proven otherwise. The defense itself was proof of fear, and fear was proof of something to hide, but the man who stood silent, who looked his accuser in the eye and said nothing, that man created doubt. Because if he were truly guilty, he would be scrambling. His silence suggested either supreme confidence or a level of power that rendered the accusation irrelevant. Either way, the dynamic shifted. The accuser, expecting a reaction, was left holding a weapon that suddenly felt useless. Silence is not passivity. Silence is refusal. When someone accuses you of being selfish and you say nothing, you are not agreeing. You are communicating something far more devastating. Your opinion of me does not require my participation. That single sentence, unspoken but transmitted through your stillness, does more damage to a manipulator than any argument ever could. Because manipulators feed on reaction. They are fishermen casting lines. If you bite, they reel you in. If you ignore the bait, they are left standing on the shore, looking foolish, holding a rod with nothing on the end. But this requires you to murder a part of yourself that has been alive since childhood, the part that believes being misunderstood is dangerous. When you were a child, being misunderstood by a parent or a teacher meant punishment. You learned that you had to explain, had to justify, had to make them see the truth or suffer the consequences. That survival mechanism is still running in your adult brain. Every time someone accuses you of something false, that child wakes up and screams, "Make them understand, make them see." Fix this before it is too late. You have to kill that child, not with cruelty, but with clarity. You are not a child anymore. The person accusing you is not an authority figure. They are a human being deploying a psychological tactic, consciously or unconsciously, to destabilize you. And your silence is the announcement that you cannot be destabilized. When you refuse to defend, you do something most people never do. You force the accuser to sit with their own words. No counter-argument, no denial, just the echo of what they said, hanging in the air, and their growing realization that it did not land the way they wanted it to. That realization is where your power lives. Not in what you said, in what you refused to say. Law 2. Never explain your decisions to those who did not earn the right to question them. Explanation is the tribute the weak pay to the strong. Every time you explain yourself to someone, you are implicitly saying, "You have authority over me. Your confusion obligates my clarification. Your doubt is my responsibility to resolve." But here is the truth that no one wants you to realize. Most people have no right to an explanation. They did not hire you. They did not raise you. They do not pay your bills or sleep in your bed or live with the consequences of your choices. They are spectators, and spectators do not get access to the locker room. Machiavelli wrote extensively about the prince's relationship with public opinion. He argued that a ruler must appear accountable, but must never actually be accountable to the mob. The moment the prince starts justifying his decisions to every merchant and peasant in the square, he is no longer a prince. He is a politician begging for approval. The sovereign makes the decision, announces it if necessary, and moves forward. The explanation, if it comes at all, comes only to the advisors who are inside the inner circle, the people whose judgment and loyalty have been tested and proven. Everyone else gets the outcome, not the reasoning. You are the prince of your own life. Most people around you are not your advisors. They are villagers shouting opinions from the street. And when a villager asks, "Why did you do that? Why did you choose this? Why are you being this way?" your instinct is to answer, to educate, to help them understand. This instinct is poison because the question is not a request for information, it is a challenge to your authority. It is a test to see if you will submit to their frame. If you will allow them to audit your choices, if you will give them the psychological satisfaction of watching you work to justify yourself. Let me give you a concrete scenario. You decide to stop drinking. Someone at a party asks, "Why aren't you drinking? Are you okay? Come on, just one." You feel the pressure to explain, to talk about health, about goals, about reasons that will make them comfortable with your choice. The moment you do that, you have given them leverage. Now they can argue with your reasons. "Oh, one drink won't hurt. Oh, you are being too extreme. Oh, I know someone who drinks every day and they are fine." You are now in a debate about a decision that was never up for debate. Instead, you say, "I am not drinking tonight." That is the full sentence. They push. Why not? You repeat, "I am not drinking tonight." Or you smile and say nothing. Or you say, "Because I decided not to," and let the silence do the rest. What have you done? You have refused to step into the courtroom. You have communicated that your decision is not a democracy. And the person asking, if they have any social intelligence at all, will feel the boundary and stop pushing. If they do not stop, they expose themselves as someone who does not respect your sovereignty. You now have information about who they are. This applies to everything. Why did you quit your job? I wanted to. Why did you move? I chose to. Why are you ending this relationship? Because it is over. The less you explain, the less ammunition you give people to argue, to judge, to project their own fears and limitations onto your choices. Machiavelli knew that power is maintained through mystery. The moment everyone understands your strategy, it stops working. The moment everyone knows your reasons, they stop fearing your decisions. Keep them guessing. Not because you are playing games, but because your internal world is not public property. Law 3. Ignore insults from those beneath your mission. There is a hierarchy in life that most people pretend does not exist. Not a hierarchy of wealth or status, but a hierarchy of purpose. At the top are people on a mission, people building something, people focused on a vision that requires discipline, sacrifice, and years of silent work. Below them are people who are coasting, people whose primary activities are consumption, distraction, and commentary on what other people are doing. The person on a mission does not have time to argue with the person scrolling, and yet most people violate this hierarchy every single day. Someone with no goals, no vision, no skin in the game insults you, and you respond. You take time away from your work, your growth, your actual life to argue with someone who has nothing to lose and nothing to build. Machiavelli observed that princes were often destroyed not by rival kings, but by the lowest members of their own courts. Gossip, slander, petty insults from people who had no power except the power to distract. The prince who stopped to address every insult, who spent his energy managing his reputation among people who contributed nothing to his reign, that prince weakened himself from the inside. He died not from the sword but from the drain. You are doing this to yourself every time you respond to a troll online. Every time you argue with a family member who has criticized your choices for a decade without ever making a bold choice themselves. Every time you defend your work to someone who has never created anything, you are letting a person with no mission steal energy from yours. The Machiavellian response is devastatingly simple. Ignore them. Not because you are above conflict, because they are beneath your attention. There is a concept in ancient Rome called damnatio memoria, the damnation of memory. When the Senate wanted to erase a disgraced emperor from history, they did not execute him publicly or write essays condemning him. They simply removed his name from every record. They stopped speaking about him. He was deleted through silence. You can do this to people in your life, not with cruelty, but with indifference. Someone insults your work. You do not block them, you do not respond, you do not even think about them for more than 3 seconds. They are a sound in a room you have already left. Their words do not follow you because you did not pick them up. And here is the psychological devastation this creates. The insulter wanted a reaction. They wanted you angry, defensive, hurt. They wanted proof that they affected you. When you give them nothing, they are forced to confront the possibility that they are irrelevant. That their opinion, their judgment, their entire existence in your world does not register. That is a violence no comeback could ever match because you did not fight them. You erased them, Machiavelli wrote. It is better to be feared than loved, but in the modern context, it is better to be unreachable than hated. Hate requires energy. Unreachability requires none. Law 4. Let your silence become your reputation. There is a type of person that every manipulator, every narcissist, every social predator learns to avoid. It is not the person who fights back. Fighters are predictable. You provoke them, they respond, you know where they stand. The person predators avoid is the one who goes quiet, the one who listens, watches, and gives nothing away. The one whose face does not change when you insult them, whose tone does not shift when you try to provoke them, who looks at you with the calm, detached curiosity of a scientist observing bacteria under a microscope. That person is terrifying because you cannot read them, you cannot control them, you cannot predict them. Machiavelli understood this deeply. He advised that the prince should cultivate an aura of inscrutability. Let your enemies guess. Let your allies wonder. Let everyone around you feel slightly uncertain about where they stand with you. Not because you are cruel, but because certainty breeds complacency, and complacent people take you for granted. When you become known as someone who does not react, who does not explain, who does not engage with every provocation, you build a reputation that does the work for you. People stop testing you, they stop throwing bait, because they know from experience that you do not bite. They have watched you ignore insults that would have made other people explode. They have seen you stay silent when accused, and somehow that silence made the accuser look small. They have seen you walk away from arguments you could have won, and that restraint made you look more powerful than any victory speech. This is the paradox of non-reaction. By doing nothing, you do everything. Your silence becomes a presence, your refusal to engage becomes an answer, and over time, people begin to self-select around you. The manipulators, the drama seekers, the energy vampires, they drift away. Not because you banished them, but because you stopped feeding them. And the people who remain, the rare ones, are the ones who respect boundaries, who value depth over noise, who understand that silence is not weakness, but sovereignty. But you have to be patient. Because in the beginning, your silence will be misinterpreted. People will call you cold. They will say you have changed. They will accuse you of thinking you are better than everyone. And every cell in your body will want to defend, to explain, to correct that misunderstanding. Do not. That is the test. The accusations are the immune system of the social world trying to reject a foreign object. You are that object. You are operating on a frequency that the majority cannot receive, and their confusion is not your problem to solve. Let them be confused. Let them wonder. Let your silence be the answer that they are not ready to understand, because the people who matter, the people who are worth your time, your energy, your presence, those people will see your silence and recognize it for what it is, not avoidance. Mastery. Law 5. Train people through absence, not argument. Most people try to teach boundaries through words. I need space. I do not like when you do this. Please respect my time. And then they are shocked when the person nods, agrees, and violates the boundary again the next day, because words without consequences are suggestions, and suggestions are ignored. Machiavelli had a phrase for this. He said that men are more ready to offend one who makes himself loved than one who makes himself feared. Love asks for understanding. Fear demands respect. You do not need people to love your boundaries. You need them to fear crossing them, and the only way to create that fear is through consequences, not conversation. Someone disrespects your time. You do not give them a speech about how busy you are. You become unavailable to them. They text. You respond 3 days later. They ask for a favor. You are suddenly busy, not out of pettiness, but out of architecture. You are restructuring their access to you based on how they treat that access. This is operant conditioning, the same principle used to train animals. Reward the behavior you want, punish the behavior you do not, but punishment does not mean yelling or confrontation. It means withdrawal, silence, distance, the removal of your presence, your energy, your warmth, and the reward is your return, not your explanation of why you left, just your presence again, contingent on their improved behavior. This is how Machiavelli advised rulers to manage loyalty. Do not tell a lord that his behavior is unacceptable. Show him. Remove your favor. Stop inviting him to the council. Stop asking his opinion. Let him feel the cold. And when he adjusts his behavior, not because you lectured him, but because he wants back into the warmth, you allow him back in. Slowly, conditionally. You are doing the same thing in your personal life. Someone drains you every time you talk to them. They complain, they take, they never reciprocate. You do not have the conversation about how one-sided the relationship is. You just stop initiating, you stop being available. You let the relationship naturally starve from your lack of feeding it. One of two things happens. Either they notice, adjust, and start showing up differently, in which case you reward that with renewed presence. Or they do not notice, which tells you everything you need to know. They were never in relationship with you. They were in relationship with what you provided. And now that the well is dry, they move on. That is not a loss. That is a filter. Machiavelli wrote that a wise prince should never keep faith when doing so would be against his interest. Translate that into the personal realm. A wise person does not stay loyal to people who treat loyalty like a one-way contract. You do not owe your presence to people who abuse it. And you do not owe them an explanation when you remove it. Law 6. Never correct someone who underestimates you. This might be the most counterintuitive law, and it is the one that separates the Machiavellian from the ego-driven. When someone underestimates you, your instinct is to correct them, to show them what you are capable of, to prove that they misjudged you. This instinct is a trap, Because the moment you prove yourself to someone who underestimated you, you give them intelligence. You show them your capabilities, you teach them where you are strong. And now they can adjust, they can prepare, they can undermine you with precision instead of ignorance. Machiavelli was obsessed with this principle. He watched lesser princes defeat greater armies because the greater armies assumed the lesser princes were weak. The underestimation was a tactical advantage. It created carelessness in the enemy. And carelessness is the crack through which the dagger enters. If someone thinks you are harmless, let them think it. If someone assumes you are not a threat, smile and let them sleep. Because their underestimation of you is your invisibility cloak. While they are ignoring you, you are moving, you are building, you are positioning, and by the time they realize you were never weak, you are already in a position they cannot touch. This applies everywhere. The coworker who dismisses your ideas in meetings, do not fight for their respect. Let them dismiss you while you quietly build alliances with the decision-makers they are ignoring. The family member who still talks to you like you are the child who could not get it together. Do not correct their perception with a speech about how much you have grown. Let your results speak years from now when you are in a position they did not think you could reach. The ex who thought you would fall apart without them. Do not post the revenge glow-up. Do not send the message showing them how well you are doing. Disappear. Improve. Let them hear about your life secondhand through someone else, years later. And let that hearing sting in a way no direct message ever could. You are not hiding. You are operating beneath the radar of people whose radar you do not need to be on. And when you finally do reveal your strength, it is not because you needed their validation. It is because the moment required it. And by then, it is too late for them to do anything but watch. Machiavelli said the lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. Therefore, one must be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves. When people underestimate you, you are the fox. Quiet, clever, unseen. Let them keep thinking you're prey, right up until the moment you show them the teeth. Law 7. Treat reactions like currency. Spend nothing on those who deserve nothing. Attention is the most valuable resource you possess, not your time, your attention. Because time passes whether you spend it or not, but attention is active. Attention is the focused beam of your consciousness, your energy, your life force directed at something, and most people are hemorrhaging it. They spend attention on every notification, every comment, every opinion, every insult, every piece of bait thrown in their direction. By the end of the day, they are bankrupt, exhausted, empty. And they wonder why they have no energy left for the things that actually matter. Machiavelli would look at the modern world and see a population that has been conquered not by force, but by distraction. Every argument you have online, every time you check to see who liked your post, every time you refresh to see if they responded, every time you react to someone who means nothing to you, you are paying them with the only currency that matters, and they are spending it on nothing. The Machiavellian treats reactions like a miser treats gold. He does not spend unless the return is guaranteed. Someone insults him. He calculates, does this person have power over my life, my resources, my mission? No, then they get nothing. Not a glance, not a thought, nothing. Someone challenges him. He calculates, is this person capable of teaching me something, of sharpening me, of offering resistance that makes me better? No. Then they get nothing. Someone tries to bait him into a public argument. He calculates, does this argument serve my goals? Does it build my position? Does it move me closer to anything I want? No, then they get nothing. You are not being cold. You are being strategic. You are operating from a framework that most people abandoned the moment they got a smartphone. The framework is this: my energy is finite. My mission is infinite. Every second I spend on something that does not serve the mission is a second stolen from my future. When you adopt this framework, you become a different kind of human being. You stop being reactive. You stop being available to every person who wants a piece of you. You become what the Stoics called an inner citadel, a fortress that cannot be breached because the gates are not open to the public, and inside that fortress you are building something. Something that requires silence, something that requires focus, something that will take years, maybe decades, and will be destroyed if you let the noise inside. Machiavelli spent years in exile, tortured, stripped of his position, forgotten by the very people he had served, and in that silence, in that forced withdrawal from the world, he wrote The Prince. The book that would outlive every person who dismissed him. He did not spend his energy arguing with his enemies. He spent it building a legacy that made his enemies irrelevant. You can do the same. Not by writing a book, but by refusing to spend yourself on people and situations that do not deserve you. Every time you ignore the bait, you are making a deposit into your future. Every time you stay silent when provoked, you are compounding your power. And one day, years from now, the people who tried to pull you into the mud will still be in the mud, and you will be somewhere they cannot see, somewhere they cannot reach. Not because you fought them, because you forgot them. Now you know the 7 laws, but knowing is not enough, because your entire nervous system is wired to do the opposite. You are wired to react, to explain, to defend, to engage. That wiring kept your ancestors alive. The one who did not react to the insult was cast out of the tribe. The one who did not defend themselves was killed. But you do not live in a tribe anymore. You live in a world where the threats are psychological, not physical. And the person who treats every insult like a tiger in the brush will spend their entire life running from shadows. You have to rewire, you have to practice, starting today. The next time someone says something designed to provoke you, do nothing. Feel the heat rise in your chest. Feel your fingers itch to type the response, and then close your mouth. Put the phone down. Walk away. Let the silence sit. Let the accusation hang in the air unanswered. And watch what happens. Watch how the person who threw the bait starts to squirm. Watch how they follow up, trying to get the reaction they were denied. And keep giving them nothing. This is your training ground. Every provocation is a repetition. Every insult is a chance to lift the weight of non-reaction. And over time, the weight gets lighter, the pull gets weaker, until one day someone tries to bait you and you do not even feel the hook. You just see a person flailing in the water and you're standing on the shore, dry, untouched, free. If you made it this far, you are not like the others. Most people left minutes ago. They went back to the argument they were having, back to the comment they were drafting, back to the reaction they could not stop themselves from having. But you stayed. And that tells me you're ready for something most people will never be ready for. The next level is not about ignoring insults from strangers. It is about what to do when the attack comes from inside your own house. When the person provoking you is someone you love, someone you live with, someone whose opinion you actually care about. The laws change, the stakes rise, and silence is no longer enough. That is a conversation we are not ready for yet, but it is coming. Until then, remember this. The man who cannot be provoked cannot be controlled. And the man who cannot be controlled is the most dangerous man in any room. Not because of what he will do, because of what he will not do. He will not react. He will not explain. He will not break. And in a world of broken people desperately trying to break everyone else, that makes him a king.